Well, as I was saying before the anthems, the game at club level in Spain is certainly thriving, but the national team who are in action tonight, well, they've gone through a difficult time compared to that wonderful era they enjoyed between 2008 and 2012. World Cup winners for the first time in their history, and also they won successive European Championship titles. They disappointed in the European Championships 2 years ago. They were knocked out by Italy in the round of 16, and their performance in the last World Cup in 2014 was even worse. They were eliminated then in the group stage. And there must also be some concern that it's something of an ageing team. 4 of the World Cup winning side are still first choice players today. That's 8 years down the line, and they've never really found adequate replacements for the likes of Xavi and David Villa. Having said all that, they did breeze through the qualifiers for this month's World Cup finals, winning 9 of their 10 ties and drawing the other. So, Alvin, they are still a formidable force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I think to a certain degree what the last tournament has done is take a little bit more pressure off them. Although there's always pressure on everybody when you're a major country going into the World Cup. But look, I just feel that they won't change anything. They'll believe they can win the competition. They will take chances. And look, when you're in there, I think they will get through to the knockout stages. When you're in the knockout stages, I think the margins are really small for success and failure. But they will know when to take their risks, how many risks to take, and there's still, for me, a team there. Whoever beats them, you've got to be a potential winner yourself.
And we should give a mention to Switzerland. Stronger side than most people think, perhaps. Just 2 defeats in their last 20 internationals. Okay, we're almost ready to go here at the home stadium of Villarreal in the northeast of Spain, not too far from Valencia. It's the Estadio de la Cerámica. It was renamed just last year, in fact, all to do with sponsorship. It was El Madrigal. Holds about 25,000, and the home club here, Villarreal, had a very successful season in La Liga, finishing in 5th place. Spain, in their usual red shirts, black shorts, black stockings, will get us underway on a typically warm Spanish evening here at the beginning of June. Very interesting lineup tonight with some very familiar names to followers of English football, certainly, and there could be an early touch for David De Gea, but instead Piqué, the former Manchester United man, turns one way, then does play it back to the current Old Trafford star. First choice for club and country, well, for a long time now, certainly since the World Cup in Brazil 4 years ago. Not too experimental, this team that Julen Lopetegui has picked. We mentioned in the team news earlier in the programme that some of the Real Madrid players have been given a rest after the Champions League final, including Sergio Ramos and Isco. Isco, who got a hat-trick in Spain's last game, a 6-1 victory over Argentina. Switzerland also scoring 6 in their previous friendly against one of England's World Cup opponents, Panama. Spain enjoying a decent period of early possession here. Switzerland in their all-white kit have barely had a touch of the ball yet, and we've had over 75 seconds played already. Now it goes long for the first time into the Swiss half. Lichtsteiner getting his head to the ball, but Iniesta picks up the loose ball for Spain. Turned back into the middle, and it could easily have been an early goal there. And indeed, the goalkeeper Jan Sommer was called into action with less than 90 seconds on the clock to produce a good save to deny Diego Costa.
Well, 88 seconds, they didn't touch the ball. It was all Spain really keeping the ball. They tried to squeeze up really high, Switzerland, and then all of a sudden they sprung the counter. They sprung a long ball which was won by Switzerland, but they got on second ball with David Silva and nearly scored from the first attack.
Very impressive opening to the game here by Spain. Switzerland will need to settle down a little. Like Spain, it's their penultimate friendly before the World Cup. They've got one more against Japan on June the 8th, which I believe will be over in Russia. Gerard Piqué in possession for Spain, just on the halfway line. The ball played back towards him again. Hugely experienced central defender. Now just a couple of matches short of his 100th cap for Spain. He's in possession on the halfway line, plays it right-footed down the right-hand side to Odriozola, the newcomer, winning just his third cap, the Real Sociedad man. He can't keep possession, and Spain, of course, to defend for the first time. And a lovely ball played forward there by Iniesta to Diego Costa, the former Chelsea man, in possession just outside the Swiss penalty area, plays it to his left, gets it back again, dispossessed, just held onto it a shade too long there perhaps, and Switzerland can come clear for the first time really, with Gemelli on that far side, who scored in that 6-0 win against Panama. Very experienced player, plays in midfield for Bologna in the Italian league. They have got a lot of players, Switzerland, who play club football in the major European league, so there's no mugs at all in this squad. Good side, won 15 of their last 20 internationals. The only two defeats, I mentioned them before, came against Poland in the European Championships a couple of years ago. That was on penalties as well, and against Portugal in a World Cup qualifier last October. They move forward again down the right-hand side with Lichtsteiner, a man nearing 100 caps for his country, plays it to the edge of the Spanish penalty area where Piqué clears quite comfortably. Remember Azpilicueta, the Chelsea man, in the back four for Spain tonight. The Spanish team showing just 4 changes, but they've made a very good start here with less than 5 minutes gone. They've already tested Jan Sommer in the Swiss goal. Piqué seeing a lot of the ball early on for Spain, slowing things down, and they switch play from the right-hand side to the left. The usual Spanish passing rhythm. First time passes, played at pace. Iniesta knocks one long this time. Goalkeeper came right to the edge of his penalty area, took a chance there, was relieved to see his defender get the ball away from danger, and the referee allows play to go on with, well, he doesn't now, he has pulled it back for a foul by Spain. Free kick to Switzerland midway inside their own half. Alvin.
Well, it's just coming up to 5 minutes of the game gone, and it's really interesting to see the way both teams are trying to dispossess the other team. Switzerland have come here and they are actually looking at trying to press the game when Spain have it, not let them out easy. And you know, it's really interesting to watch, because Spain are obviously adept at being able to break out, not panic on the ball, play short, and they did that once already and created a chance. But it's interesting that the Swiss have actually come here to try and see if they can press one of the best footballing sides and dispossess them. And when you do that and they get out, it always makes you vulnerable, because you've committed 3, 4, 5 people ahead of the ball. So again, it's obviously something that I think the Swiss will be looking to do during the competition. And I think they do it so well, Spain. It's not just about passing the ball. When they lose the ball, they try and win it back really quickly.
Zakaria committing a foul. Spain have a free kick midway inside the Swiss half. They've taken it already. The ball crossed into the penalty area, and Diego Costa unable to get a telling touch on the ball. It's rebounded out of play on the far side of the field. That's the Spanish left for a throw-in. Vladimir Petrovic is the coach of Switzerland, by the way, a Bosnian. He's been in charge of their team for 4 years now and led them to the European finals 2 years ago, and indeed, of course, to the World Cup. He's coached a number of club sides as well in Switzerland. Odriozola, the Real Sociedad man, dispossessed on the halfway line for Spain, but it's gone out of play off the defender for Switzerland for a Spanish throw-in. Good atmosphere here, 25,000 capacity crowd. Diego Costa in possession from the throw. The ball knocked in long toward Aspas. Not that often that Spain play a 4-4-2, which is basically the system that they have employed here tonight. Time for experiment, of course, before the real thing gets underway. Spain, remember, on an 18-game unbeaten run, but they needed De Gea then to pull off a fine save, although I think the flag might have gone up anyway. He wouldn't have known that. It could have been an offside call, although he wasn't offside. Looking again at the TV replay, the flag did go up, but I think that was a mistake on the assistant's part.
I think it's another example of, that this side, the Swiss side, are no mugs. I think they have been developing and progressing and getting better over the last 8 years, and I think now they're using this game as a real test for themselves, Alan. I think, if they can give a good account of themselves and attack Spain, as well as trying to stop them play and attack them, then they can take that into the competition and use it. Obviously, you've got to be careful. If you go and attack Spain and you end up losing the game 5 or 6-0, it can damage confidence going into a tournament. But I think it's a brave way to go.
They've certainly found a way through there. Switzerland, who've risen through the FIFA rankings in recent years, and in a 12-month period, 2016 to 17, they actually won 10 successive internationals. First time they'd ever done that in their entire football history. So maybe they're going to be slightly underrated by the pundits ahead of the World Cup, even though they had to come through a playoff against Northern Ireland, winning just 1-0 on aggregate, and that was a penalty as well. Spain in possession inside their own half. The ball knocked all the way back to David De Gea, who certainly didn't see that flag and made the right decision to pull off what was a fine save, irrespective of the fact that had it gone in, it would have been disallowed. Piqué has the ball midway inside the Spanish half, spreads play again out to that far side of the field. Azpilicueta linking down the left-hand side with David Silva, the Manchester City star, who played in that 1-0 defeat against Switzerland all those years ago in the 2010 World Cup. It was the opening match of that tournament, and Switzerland surprisingly beating Spain. I remember watching that, you won't be surprised to hear, in a pub in Malaga, Alvin, and even though they lost, you had to be impressed with Spain. You immediately thought, here's a team who can go on and win it.
That's right, and I think sometimes you don't always win when you do things right in a game. There'll be maybe a great finish or a mistake or a referee's decision that goes against you. I think what you've got to look at is setting your stall out, doing everything as good as you possibly can, and hoping that is enough. And if you get it right, 9 times out of 10 it is.
Spain have possession in the middle of the field and switch the play cleverly to the right. Good early ball to try and catch out the Swiss defence. Coquet then plays it infield, but Switzerland have gone at this with real enthusiasm in the opening minutes here. You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of the friendly international at Villarreal between Spain and Switzerland, 0-0. Both teams have had chances, though, in this opening 10 minutes. Spain have possession on the halfway line. The ball switched immediately out to the left-hand side. They've got Diego Costa and Aspas in the middle, but David Silva unable to bring it under control.
Been pretty impressed up to this point in the first 10 minutes how well they have pressed the Swiss. You know, it's a very difficult thing to do against good players, but if you watch the white shirts of the Swiss, you need 5 and 6 people all instantly pressing the ball at the same time. Otherwise, if one player is a little lazy and doesn't go in early enough, it makes it so easy for the opposition to get out. But they've done it pretty good up to now, although they have got out a couple of times, Spain. They haven't looked too vulnerable when that's happened to the Swiss.
Great to see Iniesta out there again, a real legend, of course, in Spanish football. This, would you believe, is his 126th cap. The man who scored the winning goal when Spain won the World Cup final all those years ago in South Africa. The ball is out of play on the halfway line for a throw-in to Spain, who have a wonderful record against the Swiss, just one defeat in their previous 19 meetings against tonight's opponents. But strangely enough, they're currently behind Switzerland in the FIFA rankings. Switzerland are 6th, Spain 8th, which I think tells you more about those FIFA rankings than it does about the actual abilities of the teams. It's all arrived at in a very strange format. The ball played deep into the Swiss penalty area, and they have to concede a corner. Thumbs up from Iago Aspas for the ball that found him inside the penalty box. Akanji gets it away. Corner's already been taken. David Silva looking to get an early cross in here. Pulls it back instead to Iniesta. Iniesta left edge of the penalty area, combining brilliantly with Silva. Iniesta into the middle again to Silva. It comes back once more to Iniesta. And in the end, Switzerland just about clear the danger, but only just. And Spain really pressing deep inside the Swiss half. In the end, a foul by Azpilicueta, in fact, gives Switzerland a free kick. But that was impressive.
Yeah, I think the Swiss will be, delighted with the start they've made in the first 12 minutes. They've done so many things well. But then again, you look at 2 moments in this first 12 minutes of quality, and Spain have had both of them. To be fair, there's a ball that's been played in by the Swiss on the right-hand side, so there's been 3 moments. But you always feel that the Spanish are going to, somewhere along the line, carve you up carve out opportunities, and they do it because they're so intricate in their passing. And Iniesta there on that left-hand side was fantastic. In really tight little areas, he still wants to play. He's still got the awareness to play other people in. Little give and goes.
Coming up to 13 minutes on the clock here at Villarreal. Spain 0, Switzerland 0. You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of this friendly, the penultimate friendly for both these countries before they disappear for the World Cup final. Spain in Group B with Portugal, Morocco and Iran. Their opening game is against Portugal. That could be a really tasty game, June the 15th in Sochi. By the way, they'll be playing England in a competitive international at the beginning of next season in September in the new UEFA Nations League. That'll be home and away. And yes, they're showing a clever little turn again just outside the Swiss penalty area. Spain looking good on the front foot here. Aspas in the middle, it's played towards him, only half cleared, but Switzerland get away with it once more. However, they've given the ball away midway inside their own half and just about survive another threat on their goal. Spain, as you might expect, looking the more fluent of the two sides.
Well, they're getting into a groove now. Their passing is much slicker. They're finding their targets, and let's say Iniesta and Silva, who are playing on Spain's left, whenever they get together within 10 or 15 yards, the understanding between the two of them is absolutely fantastic.
Azpilicueta has just committed his second foul in a matter of minutes, pulling back the jersey of Gemelli there. Had this been a competitive match, he might well have been shown a yellow card for either of those challenges, but the referee, who is from Romania, Istvan Kovac, keeps his cards in his pocket, I'm glad to say. As Switzerland attack down their left-hand side for the first time, get the ball into the middle. Spain looking a little weak at the back there. It took a brave challenge right on the edge of the penalty area to deny Switzerland, and there might be an injury as well here. It looks as though Jordi Alba's in a bit of trouble. He really did well to make that challenge. It looked like a shot was on, and he threw himself at the Swiss player, denied him the shooting opportunity, but got hurt in the process.
Well, the last 5 minutes, Spain have dominated possession, but credit to the Swiss, whenever they win back possession, they do commit people forward, and they just did that then. 5 or 6 players all want to get into advanced areas, and it's a good test for Spain.
It was Shaqiri who posed the biggest threat to Spain there. Quarter of an hour gone, still 0-0 here against Switzerland in Villarreal. As the corner, the first one for Switzerland, comes in, easily cleared by the Spanish defence. But Switzerland pick up the second ball in the middle of the field, and a good ball it was too, out to their left-hand side, and that could have easily fooled De Gea with a player running across right in front of his line of vision as Ricardo Rodriguez crossed, but De Gea always focused, always concentrating. Rodriguez, incidentally, has a Spanish father. He was the player who scored the penalty that knocked out Northern Ireland in the playoffs for the World Cup finals. Northern Ireland in a bit of trouble tonight against Costa Rica, you might have heard earlier. As Spain attack again, halfway inside the Swiss half. Diego Costa forced to move out to the left-hand side to find a bit of room. And it's going to be a throw to the Spanish. Shaqiri getting his foot in to the challenge. I wonder where he'll end up next season. I suspect he might well be leaving Stoke City in the summer. We'll wait and see on that. As Thiago brings Spain forward again and gets it back from Odriozola on the right-hand side. Odriozola dispossessed then. They don't look anything like as confident as Spain when they're in possession, the Swiss, but as Albin has mentioned, when they have broken with pace, they've looked dangerous. Very strange ball then, played way across his own penalty area by Zakaria, and it's gone out of play for a throw into Spain, almost level with the 18-yard line. First little lull in the action. It's been quite a high-tempo start for a friendly this.
Very interesting game, tactically. It's one I mentioned it, so I think Gareth Southgate will be really interested at watching, because he's watching obviously a high-class press and passing team in Spain. And certainly no mugs. We've mentioned the Swiss, they're defensively sound, although they are being stretched at times, but they also know how to commit people forward, and it's a really good educational video, I think, this for the England players.
Spain have a free kick, fouled by the former West Ham and Watford man Ballon Berrami. It's on the left-hand side as Spain attack, and it's about 10-15 yards perhaps outside the Swiss penalty area, in which Jan Sommer, the goalkeeper, is trying to organise his defenders as the ball is played into a really dangerous area, but the header was always way off target. No problem at all from Aspas, an experienced striker who actually had a short spell at Liverpool some while ago, played something like a dozen Premier League games for them in season 2013-14, but didn't make a big enough impact at Anfield for Liverpool to hold on to him. Switzerland have possession inside their own penalty box with their goalkeeper Jan Sommer, their first choice the last couple of years. Good ball out as well by him, good distribution from the Swiss keeper. The ball is on the halfway line with Switzerland, and they're forced to move infield to keep possession. Spain, a la Barcelona, pressing high, pressing quickly, giving their opponents no time at all in possession. Now the long ball forward to try and test the Spanish defence, but Ricardo Rodriguez couldn't get there quickly enough. It has, however, been cleared for a throw-in to Switzerland. Again, it's level with the 18-yard line, this time the Spanish penalty box, and back again to Ricardo Rodriguez, who will play it all the way back to Zakaria, along the ground from him. And Switzerland have probably got more players forward in this attack than at any other in the game, as Lichtsteiner hits it left-footed rather disappointingly out of play for a goal kick to Spain. Lichtsteiner, the man who, rumour has it, Alvin, could well be the first signing for the new man at Arsenal. That's a bit of a surprise to you. He's 34 now.
Well, the age obviously is a surprise, but I think, look, Arsenal have to get in and start producing football that's going to get them to the top of the Premier League with a chance of winning things. And sometimes you have to go for experience. I think they've lacked leaders and certainly consistent performance around that area. People sometimes look at attacking fullbacks and think, okay, it's easy on the eye, and usually some young players come through, you think, there's a potential there. This man, Lichtsteiner, has done it over a long period of time. He's steady defensively, and he also wants to get forward. He looks supremely fit for his age, I've got to say that.
20 minutes gone here in Villarreal. You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Spain against Switzerland, international friendly. It is still 0-0. The ball played long towards Diego Costa, edge of the penalty area. Great knockdown by him, and that could so well have been the opening goal of the game. David Silva's left foot shot flies past the far post, and it's a let-off for Switzerland.
Well, they played all short balls, 5 and 10 yards, but they know when to just play that longer ball. This one's about 35 yards played into Costa, and he's got the awareness just to play that with his head back into the path of Silva. And it's a difficult one to hit. He's dragged it slightly wide of the mark, but a half-decent effort.
He scored 35 international goals for his country, the Manchester City player, and this is his 120th cap tonight. When it comes to experience, there will be few nations in Russia that will be able to match Spain in that respect. Whether they've got enough young legs, it remains to be seen. There's going to be some very hot conditions in Russia. It might be one of the coldest places on earth in the winter, but it gets extremely hot, certainly in the south of the country in the summer. Ricardo Rodriguez bringing Switzerland forward again. They're just inside the Spanish half. Ball is Zakaria, who's seeing a lot of it early on. Lichtsteiner plays it back to Ballon Berrami, who's tripped, and that'll be a free kick to Switzerland, about 10 yards inside the Spanish half. Complaints from Diego Costa. There's a shock. A warrior who likes to get involved, loves a battle, loves a physical challenge. Sometimes goes over the top, of course, but who wouldn't want him in their side?
I think you look at the game that both sides are trying to employ, a high-press and high-tempo game. And Spain just have that little bit more quality. When the Swiss press high up the pitch, the Spanish backline players are a bit more adept at keeping the ball, making angles for each other and getting out. But when the Spanish put pressure high up the pitch on the Swiss defenders, a little bit less technical ability makes it more difficult for them to get out. They panic at times, and that's when the Spanish win the ball back.
Midway through the first half here in Villarreal, in the Estadio de la Cerámica, and it is Spain 0, Switzerland 0. Switzerland have had a chance, although a flag an incorrect flag for offside would have denied them anyway, but Spain have created the better opportunities so far. But here come the Swiss again. 5 men forward again in this attack. Lichtsteiner in possession, right edge of the Spanish penalty area, just crosses it, and it's a decent opportunity there, and it could have been better dealt with really by Gemelli, who hit the ball into the ground with no great power, and it bounced up and over the crossbar.
Yeah, I feel that maybe he could have done better with this. Not the easiest chance, but certainly he decides to take it first time, and he just slips, I think, as he tries to get his right boot on that. He needs to keep the ball down, and he didn't. He thundered it into the ground, and it bounced up over the bar. But again, it's a Swiss side that have come here, knows that it's going to maybe lose the initiative of the game at times, and they're going to dominate possession, Spain. But what they have done is when they get the ball, they are committing people forward. So it's a pretty brave tactic.
They've actually kept 4 successive clean sheets in international football, Switzerland. They haven't conceded now for over 7 hours of international football. That's impressive for any nation. Spain come at them again, though. The ball is over on the left-hand side for Spain, just outside the penalty area, with Silva again in possession. Gives it away this time. That's a rare event for him. Strong challenge then by Costa in another battle for possession over on the far side of the field. You know, when you play against him, you are going to pick up a few bruises along the way.
One thing you know, he's going to put a shift in, don't you? We could talk about, you know, maybe some of the negative things in terms of going over the top and, you know, letting his discipline slip. He's always willing to work for his teammates.
I always think he's one of those players, if he's in your team, you love him. If he's in the opposition team, you hate him. I've got a lot of time for him. I just think, you know, he's one of those, you think, if you're a defender and you see his name on the team sheet, you think, oh no,
not going to be an easy night.
It won't be an easy night, and Switzerland are finding that already, but they still have kept that clean sheet again after 4 in a row. Coquet in possession for Spain, just inside the Swiss half. It's a good ball as well, out to Odriozola on the right. He jinks inside, finding Iniesta now. Iniesta right edge of the penalty area. Aspas plays a lovely ball to him. That was unlucky. Coquet, I'm not quite sure what he was trying there. It's turned out to be a cross. And now Silva had a shooting opportunity. The ball whipped off his toe as he was about to pull the trigger.
Well, I've got to say, they're asking lots of questions, Spain, at the moment. The Swiss are coming up with answers. They're defending stoutly. They're very organised. Some of the football that Spain are playing is really good, accurate football.
And here they go again inside the Swiss penalty area. Coquet going in to dispossess Barami. I said it's a warm night here, but it's now started raining. Something about the rain in Spain, and you probably know the rest. 0-0, 26 minutes played. Barami for Switzerland, just outside his own penalty area. The ball knocked all the way back to goalkeeper Sommer, who's closed down very quickly and stayed very calm to pick out Ricardo Rodriguez on the left for Switzerland. Good early ball forward by him. Seferovic plays it into the Spanish penalty area. Well, that's excellent defending by Spain, and draws a well-merited round of applause from this full house crowd here. Not often that Spain play in this particular city, so the tickets went pretty quickly. A send-off for Spain. Aspas for them. 10 yards outside the Swiss penalty area. It's another good ball as well for Silva, who might hit this one. Combines instead again with Iniesta. Silva's there. He claimed the handball as the defender went to ground. The referee was well placed to say play on, which Switzerland do now, with Shaqiri, a familiar, muscular little bundle of energy and talent. And I just wonder if Stoke fans are going to have the pleasure of watching him again next season. 3 years he's had now at Stoke City, and a man who had much more success earlier in his career. Very impressive CV, Bayern Munich and Inter Milan amongst his other clubs. Will we be seeing him still in the Premier League, I wonder? All these questions will be asked during the summer months, I'm sure. Switzerland come forward now, left edge of the Spanish penalty area, but a very poor ball there by Gemelli, and it goes straight out of play for a goal kick to Spain.
What they've got to be careful of now, Switzerland, is that it is being controlled predominantly now by Spain, and they're having to chase the ball, having to work terrifically hard to stay in the game. And a little bit of tiredness can start to creep in. Somebody stays off a couple of yards, and then they look at getting the first goal there, Spain, and then you have got a real problem, because they're so hard to get the ball off. When you start committing people forward and chasing the ball, they're always looking to kill you with a second goal. So difficult game obviously in store.
Here they come again, Spain. Odriozola with a deep cross to the far post, collected by Silva inside the Swiss penalty area. Aspas trying to get on the end of his pass. He hooks it back in the middle towards Odriozola. Oh, would you believe it? The youngster from Real Sociedad has scored his first ever international goal to give Spain the lead on 29 minutes. He began the move and he finished it in fine style. It's a name that won't be familiar to many. It's just his third cap. He's only in really because Carvajal of Real Madrid got injured in the Champions League final. He has given himself a memory for a lifetime.
Wow, what a volley, controlled all the way. It was a fabulous bit of quick thinking really by Iniesta. He wouldn't let the ball die. He got his left foot to it. It looped up onto the edge of the box. He's got to wait an age for it to come down. He watches it perfectly. As soon as that leaves his boot, it's fine in the bottom left-hand corner. Great volley.
Well, an unexpected source. All these famous Spanish names, all those players who've scored consistently down the years for the national team, and it's that young man who gets his name on the score sheet with a brilliant finish. The first time, remember, that the Swiss defence has conceded in, well, very nearly 4.5 games now. No more than Spain deserve. They have looked the better side, even though Switzerland have given them a few problems, and are doing so again. The ball just outside the penalty area for Spain, but Piqué is there to intercept and play it back to David De Gea. Well, the best teams produce goals from all kinds of positions and all kinds of different players, and Spain have just done that. He started the move as well, didn't he, with the cross?
But it's a fabulous lesson for anyone watching, and now obviously you've got a moment in the game. The Swiss have defended gallantly, but down that left-hand side for Spain, Silva and Iniesta have got that little bit more quality, more penetration, delicacy, whatever you want to call it, when it gets around the final third, and the little give and goes, the weight of the passes has been of a really high standard. The Swiss have dealt with it up to a point, but that goal has been coming. Now they've got a problem. And this is something again that we were talking about before the game for England. When you concede a goal or the game takes a turn, how do you react? And that's where they've got to be very careful now, the Swiss. They don't chase the game, they don't concede a second, but also don't sit back too deep either. It's a very fine balance.
31 minutes gone. It's Spain 1, Switzerland 0 here in Villarreal. You're listening to TalkSport's live coverage of this pre-World Cup friendly. And we've just had the first possession statistic of the game. Spain, would you believe, 70% of the football they've enjoyed. And I can well believe it, actually, because it's looked that way. Put the curse on there, though, as I think it was Piqué sent the ball flying straight out of play for a throw into Switzerland on the far side. Not like him.
A lot of that possession will have been in decent areas as well, Alan. Sometimes, you look at possession, and if a team's got it in their own half and are just passing it backwards and forwards around the back line, that's different. But this is a Spain possession, I think, that predominantly has been in the Swiss half, and a lot of it around the edge of the box.
Well, the coach of Spain, Julen Lopetegui, must be wondering what all the fuss is about. He's had an 18-match unbeaten run. His team are in the lead again here. He replaced the legendary Vicente del Bosque after Spain's rather disappointing European Championships 2 years ago, and he's won every single match. He's really reinvigorated this team. And they're on the attack again and looking dangerous again just outside the Swiss penalty area. This time it comes to nothing, and Switzerland try to break quickly but give the ball away rather clumsily in the middle third of the field. So back comes Spain again. It's another foul that I thought by Berami, who's already committed 2 of 3. He got away with this one though. The referee said play on. Lichtsteiner down the right hand side for Switzerland, plays the ball out to the right flank. They've got Seferovic waiting for the cross in the middle. Well, the cross came in, but not where he was standing, right across the 6-yard box and out of play.
Well, make no mistake about this, 32 minutes into the game, Spain have been by far the better side, lead 1-0. But the Swiss have come here and impressed me at the same time. You know, they're goal down, but again, they are recognising the times to attack, and at times they're being forced to defend. But when they do attack, they attack in pretty good numbers and with a lot of quality. That was a wonderful ball.
And they gave it away then on the halfway line. They were lucky they had a covering defender with Diego Costa bearing down towards their goal. Putting in a real hard-working shift here, the former Chelsea man. Now a free kick has been conceded by Thiago just inside the Swiss half. Free kick to the visitors. Well, that was a chance, certainly. Seferovic was well placed, but the cross was nowhere near him in the end.
A lot of Spanish defenders in there. You know, for once they didn't get enough white shirts into the box at the crucial time.
Switzerland have the ball halfway inside their own half. 34 minutes played. Spain 1, Switzerland 0 here on TalkSport. The ball is with the Swiss goalkeeper Jan Sommer. Plays it out for Fabian Schär, one of the 2 central defenders. Akanji from Borussia Dortmund in Germany is the other. He's in possession now and plays it all the way back to his goalkeeper again. Rather meaningless little period of possession there for the Swiss. They can't get out because Spain are pressing them so high up the field. Now they might with Schär finding Lichtsteiner on the right. The captain looks for the early ball, looking for Shaqiri. Didn't get much chance of reaching that first, ahead of Jordi Alba, who clears his lines for Spain. And the Spanish in their red shirts and dark blue shorts come forward again with Iniesta. He was fouled. That'll be a free kick to Spain just inside the Swiss half. Zakaria, the man who committed the foul, he's just 21. Defensive midfielder from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Began his career in Swiss club football with the well-known club Servette. Iniesta for Spain from the free kick. Clips it out to the right. Odriozola on the run again. He fancies another shot at goal here, but the ball to him from Aspas wasn't good enough. Switzerland have it inside their own penalty box, and there's a confusion at times when they try to play their way out of trouble. There was then, and they've given Spain a throw-in, almost on the corner flag, in fact. Oh, it is a corner, actually. Yeah. Koke will take it. Looked as though it's gone out just the wrong side of the byline, but it is a corner. And Koke, having chased it out there, will deliver. Just waiting to see if there's any movement towards the near post. There isn't, so he clips it towards the far post instead. And the second ball is won back by Spain. Koke's there again. A lot of players between the ball and the Swiss goalkeeper at the moment. But Switzerland deal with the threat and have possession just inside their own half. Now they break across the halfway line. They should have done anyway, but they had to pull the ball back to Berami inside his own half. He's been tripped. Relieved to hear the whistle go. Free kick for the former West Ham and Watford man. And Petrovic, the Bosnian coach, looking on rather disappointedly. I'm sure he would have wanted his side to give a better showing than this. Roy Hodgson, of course, was famously a coach for the Swiss back in the 1990s, led them to the 1994 World Cup finals, in fact. One of his many great jobs on Roy Hodgson's CV. Got another big one, didn't he? Keeping Crystal Palace in the Premier League in the season just completed in England. Switzerland coming forward, halfway inside the Spanish half. Zakaria. Now the ball played out to Ricardo Rodriguez. They favour this left-hand side mainly. Zuba has possession. Zakaria might have just got clipped there as he laid the ball off. He did, and the Romanian referee has given Switzerland a free kick. It's just about halfway inside the Spanish half. They've taken it, knocked it back into their own half to Berami, who'll leave it to Shaw, Fabian Shaw, who plays in Spain with La Coruña. And now they're building across their back four, but noticeably to no great effect. They've got a free kick, however, but they're much slower in possession, aren't they?
Yeah, well, what I'm looking at is two sides with different abilities. The Spanish look like a club side to me. They look like a side that are playing together week in and week out. We know that's not true, but they all know each other and what they expect from each other. They press at the right times, they pass, and their movement is fluent. It's something that really you struggle to achieve at international level, and we know that as English fans. You know, getting a team that is cohesive. Whenever we watch England, and while we haven't been successful at tournaments, we put individuals who have got abilities, no doubt about that, top class players, but they play as individuals. This is a Spanish team that really play for each other. They all know what they're doing.
I mentioned before the makeup of their Group B in the World Cup: Portugal, Morocco, Iran. Portugal obviously will be a real threat. That's the opening game, in fact. Do you see any other problems for them from Morocco or Iran?
Well, I think they're a better team than Portugal. I think that Portugal were heavily reliant on Ronaldo, and Ronaldo, that is getting older now, and maybe his influence will wane. We shall wait and see. But man for man, the Spanish by far the better team in this group.
So you'd expect them to qualify comfortably?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And maybe in the second half we can address how far you think they might go. But for the moment, they're on the attack again inside the Swiss penalty area. The ball deflected behind for another Spanish corner. Shaw, the player who got it away, also played in Germany, the La Coruña player for Hoffenheim. La Coruña, the Spanish club, are actually relegated this season. So maybe he'll be seeking a move. Fourth corner for Spain. Switzerland have had one themselves. We're coming close to the last 5 minutes of the first half here in Villarreal. Azpilicueta has gone right onto the goal line here, and that left space behind him for Diego Costa for a flying header that was well off target.
Yeah, I think he might be slightly disappointed he didn't get more on that, Costa. Look, we've mentioned about his team play. He sacrificed himself for the team. He's a very unselfish player. Costa, actually, he does quite well to even get anything on that. Looking at the replay, but his goal scoring for Spain, that needs to improve, and that could be the difference between Spain, getting to a semi-final or even winning the competition. You have to take your chances when they come along. And as a clinical striker, is he that? He's a very good striker, but he will need to certainly put the chances away.
Great run again by the goal scorer Odriozola, the layup to Iniesta. Oh, that would have been the most popular goal Spain have scored this season if the soon-to-be departing these shores Iniesta had found the net. But in the end, it was a comfortable save for Jan Sommer.
Nice lay-off again, wasn't it, by Diego Costa? That's what he is, unselfish. He'll always pass the ball in the final third to a teammate if they're in a better position than him.
Iniesta's off to Japan to take his career forward in their J-League. He's 34. I mean, he's still absolutely class, isn't he? With a capital C. Slightly surprised, other than the financial aspect, that he's chosen that route. You would have thought, there's clubs and leagues much higher profile than the J-League that would have loved him.
Well, what I'm seeing is a player tonight who's working tremendously hard, who's still got a desire. Sometimes they lose that zip, don't they, in their desire, the fire in their belly, whatever you want to call it. He's still certainly got that. And wherever he goes, they're getting a player at 34 that's still got very many more miles on the clock.
Joy to watch him and Xavi together. But here's Switzerland threatening. Zacharias, shot block, edge of the Spanish penalty area. They picked up the second ball, though. Zuba gets the cross in, and it's a good one. David De Gea's anticipation prevented a real problem for Spain there. Quickly off his line, read it brilliantly, caught it safely and cleanly, and gets Spain straight on the front foot again with his throw out.
I think he's a keeper as well, David De Gea, because of the way they play Spain. At times you're a spectator for large portions of the game. his concentration, and you mentioned it there, is really as good as any keeper in the world. We can talk about ability and shot stopping, but for concentration, I think that David De Gea can not have anything to do, pulls a moment out of the bag when he needs to. It's not that often, but it's brilliant.
Yes, Casillas, of course, first choice for many, many years. We'll come back to that as Spain look threatening on the edge of the Swiss penalty area. Switzerland get it half clear. Yeah, they thought Iker Casillas would be almost irreplaceable. Well, David De Gea is threatening to have an even better career as Spain's number one. Just one of the many positions in which Spain are blessed. And when you think no Sergio Ramos today, Carvajal, if he recovers from his injury, I'm sure would be first choice at right back, although Odriozola's given the coach something to think about tonight with his overall display and his goal. And there are several others who could easily step into this team. It really is a very, very strong squad, and I think Spain could go a long, long way in this month's World Cup finals. That's not a touch of genius to predict that, I know, but considering how poor they were in the last World Cup, that could be a surprise prediction. Here they come forward again. The ball slams straight against Diego Costa, and Switzerland get it clear.
Well, they've had the ball, in this half so many times down the side, especially on the left-hand side. They look particularly good down the left-hand side, Spain, and they've got behind Switzerland. The Switzerland have defended really well to keep it at 1-0. But look, if it was 2 or 3, I don't think anyone would have been surprised.
Good interception there by the tall Manuel Akanji, centre-back, but as soon as they clear the ball, Spain pick up the pieces again and come at them with Iniesta. Tries the shot. Oh, that was close. Sommer had to dive to his right to deny Iniesta again in the last minute of the half.
Quality, absolute quality. Now he's to Spain. He's passed and passed, and the pass has been exquisite, but now he's going past people with the ball. Makes it look so easy.
And it makes you wonder just why he's chosen to retire from the highest echelons of club football. Still in the World Cup squad, of course. Spain, I'm sure, will pick him more times than they leave him on the bench. They have possession just inside the Swiss half. Now they get forward very quickly, and for once there's a misunderstanding there between, I think it was Iniesta and Silva. Oh, and then a wild challenge. Piqué it was who committed it, and again I think in a competitive match, the referee would have carded him for that.
Absolutely, it was late and it was premeditated as well.
Just getting a replay of Iniesta's shot. It was on its way in. That Sommer had to make that save, and that is the culmination of an excellent first half here in Villarreal for Spain. Right from the start, Spain looked excellent. They tested the goalkeeper, they tested the Swiss defence in the first few minutes. Switzerland, well, they didn't cross the halfway line for a couple of minutes, and in the end Spain got the goal they so thoroughly deserved. The move started by their newcomer right back Odriozola, and then finished by him after his cross was turned to the far side of the field to David Silva. He knocked it back in, and a perfectly executed volley by Odriozola has given Spain a 1-0 lead here at half-time. Thanks, Matt. Yes, both teams out. The referee just checking the numbers. I think we've had one change. Yes, we have. Iago Aspas has gone off to be replaced by Lucas Vázquez. That's for Spain, of course. It's traditional in these friendlies to have many changes eventually, usually in the last 20 minutes or so. But the Real Madrid striker Lucas Vázquez is on for Aspas, and I think that's the only change that we can see at the moment for Spain, as the referee sets the second half in motion with Switzerland in their all-white strip, now attacking from left to right as we watch here in the Estadio de la Salameca in the city of Villarreal. And immediately, as the ball is played back to Sommer in the Swiss goal, Diego Costa closed him down. And familiar Spanish tactics right from the off, and Diego Costa could have been in there as the ball was played centrally. This time the goalkeeper got the better of him, Sommer coming off his line quickly, but Spain right at it from the off.
And they're still doing it. They're putting them under real pressure. The keeper's going to have to kick the ball long here. They know that if they get the ball early, in the second half they can actually start to control the game.
And this time it's Switzerland with Shaqiri looking threatening. He's on the edge of the area. Just took too long, delayed his shot, and then unable the defender to get in the block. But a high-powered start to the second half here. Just over a minute gone, and chances at both ends of the field.
But again, it's a game that's intrigued me, Al. I see two teams that are trying to employ the similar tactics in terms of pressing. Obviously, one side are better, more adept at it than the others. But the Swiss, I think, will take some positives from this. They're 1-0 down. They're still very much in the game. They've done some things well, some things not so well. But they will come away from this if it carries on in this vein, and they've learned something about their team.
Let me tell you a little bit more about Odriozola, the goal scorer. He's 22. He has played earlier in his career. Well, he's still only 22, but when he played in the B team at Real Sociedad, he was a winger who was then converted to fullback. That explains his eagerness to get forward down the right-hand side. He's only made 50 appearances in the first team for Real Sociedad, and there are lots of rumours in the Spanish press that Real Madrid are looking to buy him in the summer after the World Cup has been completed as cover for Carvajal, who of course currently is injured. Otherwise, I assume he would have been in at right back. He's certainly a first choice right back for Spain, who are on the attack again now, midway inside the Swiss half. This time Iniesta gets it wrong, but a slip there by the tall Zakaria, and then a strong challenge, two strong challenges to follow that. And Andres Iniesta is the man who's come off worst in that little period of play. He's down injured, and that will be of concern to everyone in Spain who admires this wonderful little footballer so much. 674 appearances for Barcelona. I'll say that again, 674 appearances for one of the world's great teams. That tells you everything you need to know about his ability. 126 caps for Spain as well.
This is worrying though. He's down, and he doesn't go down and stay down like this. Iniesta, it's his left knee. It was a contact, really, bone on bone, and a really painful one. It'll be a little bit concerning. It looks like he's going to be okay, so it's probably just a knock rather than a twist. The twists are the worrying ones, that you could sustain an injury that might be a risk towards the competition as a whole. I'm talking about the World Cup now, but it looks like he's okay, but certainly would have been a painful one then.
Significantly, we just got a glimpse there of Lopetegui on the touchline, biting his nails probably in apprehension when Iniesta went down and stayed down, but he's okay, he's on his feet. In fact, he's just been waved back onto the field by the Romanian referee. You're listening to TalkSport's live coverage of Spain against Switzerland. The ball has been given away by Switzerland just outside their own penalty area. Didn't really make the most of that though, Spain, who lead by 1-0 here. A wonderful goal in the first half by newcomer Odriozola, the right back also for Real Sociedad. Spain have possession, and fairly untroubled possession now inside their own half. Slowing it all down, and then suddenly you get that injection of pace, or the long ball produced by Gerard Piqué out to the right. Iniesta involved in the middle of the field, just hanging loose just outside the penalty area. Had two excellent efforts in the first half, both saved by Sommer in the Swiss goal. Not being marked at the moment, which is dangerous, showing himself for possession as Azpilicueta plays it out to Jordi Alba on the left-hand side, and now Silva for Spain. The ball is on the halfway line, and now switch to Iniesta in the outside left position. Time as ever on the ball. Time to pick out a pass, and a glorious one it was too, right to the feet of Vázquez, who's just come on as a half-time substitute. The cross to the far side by Silva. Diego Costa took a swing of it, and then so did Koke, and neither of them could get a shot on target. Switzerland breathe again, but only just. They trail 1-0 here. Oh, a dangerous ball given away right on the edge of their penalty area, and then total confusion between Vázquez and Diego Costa, both of whom wanted to shoot, and they just made a total mess of it between them. And Diego Costa does not look a happy man. I wouldn't want to cross him. As Switzerland come forward. It's been an entertaining game, this. Friendlies can often be rather sterile affairs. This one certainly hasn't been. 50 minutes played. Spain lead 1-0.
No, I think both managers have set their stall out, and they've certainly set their teams out here to try and learn something about each other and about their own teams. I've got to say that probably at half-time, Petkovic, the Swiss coach, chance here for Costa.
No, he's offside, yeah.
But you know, the Swiss coach Petkovic would have said to his team, look, we've got to be better in our final third when we're building up our attacks, because they did press exceptionally well, the Spanish. Let's be a bit braver, a bit more courageous. But then what's happened in the second half, the Spanish have come out really quickly and done an exceptionally, difficult job in terms of pressing the Swiss. And when you've got Spanish players swarming all over you as a centre half, you tend to panic, and that's what's happening at the moment.
Iniesta denied again, just outside the penalty area, but Spain have it back. Silva's cross is a good one. Diego Costa lays it off. Iniesta close again. This time just wide.
It's a lovely setup by Costa again. This comes at him at real pace, and he just takes the sting out of it. Just leaves it there with his left foot for Iniesta to get the shot away, and he's only just wide of the mark. He had to get the shot away really quickly because he was being put under pressure. But Costa, although he hasn't scored tonight, set 3 lovely chances up for his teammates.
Doesn't get many goals, Iniesta. Good heavens, he does just about everything else so brilliantly, but he did get the winner, of course, famously in the World Cup final of 2010. As Spain are about to make a second change now. Guez is about to come on. Player that won't be that familiar a name, I wouldn't think, to too many watching, as Spain attack again, and the ball through to Sommer. Not the best clearance. He's put his defender under a bit of pressure there, but there was a foul then midway inside the Swiss half, so they've got away with that one. Switzerland in possession, edge of their own penalty area. The man coming on is probably better known, and I think we'll call him that, as Saul. Plays in midfield for Atletico Madrid, as Switzerland give it away yet again. How often have they done that? They could be in trouble this time. But no, excellent defending. Shah, who got his foot in, edge of his own penalty area. But once more, they lose possession inside their own half. You just cannot do that against anyone at this level, let alone players of the ability that Spain have. David Silva has the ball. Plays it out to the left-hand side to Thiago. Thiago with nice, neat bit of footwork to keep possession. Iniesta's there again, gets it back just outside the penalty area. Now he's inside the box, goes down, gets it back, still has possession. And was he fouled there by Barami? No, the referee's just given a throw to Spain about 10 yards from the Swiss penalty area. Now they'll make that change. Applause for the outgoing player. And it is, in fact, Iniesta. Maybe that knock he took there has made his coach decide, hey, we'll wrap you in cotton wool until the World Cup gets underway. A wonderful reception for a truly great player, and by all accounts a truly great man who does so much for charity as well, and for his home village in Spain, the football club where he began his life. He helps them out a great deal. So Saul, the Atletico Madrid player, who was top scorer in last year's European Under-21 Championships, takes the place of a legend.
Well, when you look at Iniesta's performance in this game tonight, he's pulled all the strings, he's controlled the game, and he and David Silva have been the outstanding individuals in a very good team performance.
First thing that happens for Saul is that he attacks down the left flank, and he's dragged back by Barami. That must be, he's getting on for double figures with offences now, Barami. He made about 4 fouls in quick succession in the first half, as Iniesta goes around the whole squad shaking hands, and Spain come forward from the free kick, and the ball knocked behind there by Akanji for a Spanish corner.
they can't get out their own half, can they? Can't get out their own penalty area at the moment, the Swiss. And credit to Spain, it's them that are really forcing the Swiss into panic stations, and well, they're just doing so well defensively.
Coquet takes it in the end, and it's a good one too, right into the heart of that Swiss penalty box. Headed clear, but Spain pick up the loose ball, played back in towards Coquet on the left-hand edge of the Swiss penalty area. There's another strong challenge, this time from the substitute, Latke. I don't know whether that was a little bit of afters for the foul that had been committed on him, but it was a wild challenge, and he's finally tested the referee too far, and the first yellow card of the game is shown to the substitute, and rightly so.
Yeah, but he tried to go through Shaqiri to get to the ball, and he's sliding along. He could have injured Shaqiri, who was obviously got a tournament to look forward to as well. He was really unhappy with the challenge. I said to you, look, they're great players, technically gifted, but they've also got that in them, which a lot of the great teams that win things have to have.
Absolutely, one can only think of Italy down the years, Argentina as well. It's not just about pretty football at this level, you've got to have some steel about you as well, and most certainly Spain have that. And they haven't even got the arch villain Sergio Ramos involved tonight. Now, he doesn't take any prisoners.
No, he doesn't. And he knows the line. I mean, he's sent it off on regular occasions. I think, to be fair, his discipline is probably better now than ever before. But I'm just thinking about when you look at Spain here, Alan, and you are Gareth Southgate, and you've got to get to this level. There's still maybe 2 or 3 players that they're missing. Well, it gives you an idea of the heights that you've got to get to, and the level of performance and intelligence and ability to be able to get where Spain are now.
Switzerland have possession. Finally, they cross the halfway line, but not for long. Dispossessed. And they were rather fortunate, perhaps, to get it back there. In the middle with Zakaria. Shaqiri loses possession just over the halfway line, looking a little frustrated. That would be a familiar body language to Stoke City fans. Certainly lets his teammates know when the ball isn't played exactly where he wants it. And now Saul comes forward for Spain, plays it out to the right hand side, gets it back from Odriozola, who's still there in a threatening position, now moving infield from the position from which he scored. Knocks it into the middle. Diego Costa with an acrobatic attempt to do a Ronaldo, if you like, an overhead kick.
And then Albert, I think, intelligently looked at Costa where he was setting up, realised he wasn't going to get to the ball, and he actually got a left foot on this. And again, it's great play by Spain. Spain now are totally dominating the game. They're all over the Swiss. The Swiss are chasing shadows.
Here we go now with the usual raft of changes. And that will be the last involvement for Diego Costa. He goes off and he'll be replaced, I think, by Asensio. Marco Asensio takes his place, the Real Madrid player who played a lot of games for them, over 50 appearances last season. David Silva has also been replaced. As Switzerland have the ball deep inside their own half, play forward towards the halfway line, and again that little bit of a nous from Spain. Piqué this time, knowing when danger threatens, never being afraid to commit a foul. So Diego Costa and David Silva, the 2 players, off. An hour gone in Villarreal. You're listening to TalkSport, our pre-World Cup friendly here. Spain 1, Switzerland 0. Odriozola, an unfamiliar name, I'm sure, to most of our listeners, scoring the goal in the first half. An excellent goal it was too, by the young 22-year-old right back. Switzerland have toiled manfully, I'd say, in this game, but have not created too many problems since, well, the opening 15 minutes perhaps, when they had a couple of breakaways, but they've looked pretty much second best. by a long way to an excellent Spanish team who, when they won the European title in 2008, it ended a 44-year wait for a major trophy. It seems incredible that now, when you think how successful Spain have been in the intervening years, that they had such a long fallow period internationally as that, despite the fact that their club sides have always done so well. Anyway, Switzerland are looking to do well themselves here, and the ball killed towards the bottom corner, and although De Gea got a hand to it, he couldn't keep it out. They looked towards the linesman, and I think the linesman's flag has stayed down. It has. So they've got a goal back. It looks as though Ricardo Rodriguez was the man who slid in after a very, very rare mistake by David De Gea, I have to say. It wasn't the easiest shot to save, admittedly, but he pushed it straight out to the Swiss player, who has equalised.
Well, it is a goalkeeping mistake. He will be unhappy with this. There was no real power in it. They worked the ball really well, the Swiss, to this right-hand side, and Lichtsteiner actually hits it with his left foot. There's no real venom in it, though, and David De Gea should hold it, no problem at all. Somehow it squirms through his hands, and a keeper that we've been praising throughout has made a dreadful mistake by his standards.
He certainly has, and it was Ricardo Rodriguez who got there just ahead of his teammate Zuba to tap it over the line for the easiest goal he'll ever score in his career, his fourth in 51 internationals, and now we're getting changes all over the place. Gelson Fernandez has just come on for the Swiss. I'm sure that would be a familiar name to British fans. Played for Manchester City and for Leicester City. He's now with Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany. The man who scored the winner against Spain in that famous World Cup tie 8 years ago. Lichtsteiner has also gone off to be replaced by Michael Lang, one of the few in this squad still playing his club football in Switzerland. Well, a mistake from De Gea. Make a note of the date. You don't get many of those.
I think it's an example as well, Alan. I was just about to make the comment that the Swiss have been outplayed by a much better side tonight, but they haven't been killed off. This was played in a World Cup tournament at 1-0. They'd have felt, coming past an hour, we're still in the game. And coming into the last 15-20 minutes, you might take the odd chance here and there to try and get back in the game. But there's been changes made, obviously, by the Spanish coach, and the Spanish will feel that there's a lot of positives they'll take out of this, whatever the end result. And they could have really been 2 or 3-0 up. And we go back to the point that we made in football. You have to take your chances, and the chances when they have come along, they haven't taken them tonight. Although they have probably exhibited everything else, haven't they? They've pressed the ball really well. They've kept possession, controlled the game. They've had penetration to their play. Obviously sticking the ball in the back of the net is something they could have done better tonight.
Well, the initial shot by the captain, who's now departed, he's been substituted, Lichtsteiner, was certainly moving away from De Gea, but it's a save that he would make routinely, week in, week out for Manchester United and indeed for his country. Here's a chance for Spain to regain their lead, but the ball has escaped the attention of everyone in the red shirts in the penalty area. The cross comes in again now as they look to get it back. Jordi Alba with a total miss kick then on the edge of the area. Now Asensio has possession, the latest substitute, shaking up the defenders' attentions. Spain rattled by that goal and clearly determined to regain their lead. Vázquez in possession just outside the area, knocks it into the middle. Half cleared, but only as far as Jordi Alba, who took another swing at it then. It's getting a bit messy, this game now. It's suddenly picked up pace. Asensio with the ball to the edge of the penalty area. The layoff by Shaqiri was poor, and Spain have picked up a gear again now. Yep. Going for it, really going for it. They're having to defend very, very deep at the moment, Switzerland. The ball played back to their goalkeeper, Sommer, who panicked a little when he saw the Spanish player running in at him. Now Jordi Alba has possession for Spain, just inside the Swiss half. Has to play it back into his own half to Azpilicueta in order to keep possession for Spain, who will look to go again here. Rodrigo, the other player who came on incidentally, I'm not sure we mentioned him in that little spell when both teams made a number of substitutions. The ball is down the right with Odriozola, and the flag has gone up for offside against him, I think. Certainly offside anyway.
Well, they've got another gear, Spain, and they move into it now, and they are in fifth gear now. They're asking lots of questions of the Swiss. I think, look, both managers have taken this seriously up to this point. There's been a lot of changes made over the last 5 minutes, but I think both would have learned about their players, and certainly the Swiss would have learned that the Spanish press as well as any country at this up-and-coming World Cup in terms of when they haven't got the ball. But the Swiss have also set their stall out, tried to be as adventurous as possible, but for the majority of the game that they have been chasing the ball, and it's really hard to do that.
Well, we have seen a flaw in Spain's makeup tonight. We've seen some excellent football by them as well, and the flaw came from a most unexpected source. David De Gea, the man who kept more clean sheets than any other Premier League goalkeeper last season. 18 in all, which won him the Golden Glove Award. Rodriguez, the Swiss goal scorer, seems to be signalling to the bench that he might have picked up an injury and wants to be substituted here, but player's gone on. He's going to have to defend for the moment, along with most of his teammates, penned back inside their own half yet again by Spain. But there are so many bodies that even Spain's legendary slick passing might find it difficult to get away through here. They switch the play. The ball intended for Jordi Alba, but over his head and out of play for a throw-in to Switzerland. Embolo, one of the Swiss substitutes, letting the ball travel out for a throw. There's another couple of changes on the way for Spain. Monreal, the Arsenal man, is one of those who's about to come on, and Nacho as well. Just getting their last minute instructions there from the coach. Nacho, the Real Madrid defender who came on as a substitute early on, you might remember, in the Champions League final against Liverpool when Carvajal was injured. It'll be his 16th cap, and everyone knows about Monreal and his capabilities. As the ball is played back to Sommer again in the Swiss goal, a missed kick clearance this time keeps them under pressure, and it'll be a throw-in to the Swiss. He got away with that, Jan Sommer. Big smile on the face of the experienced keeper who plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach in Germany. Replaced Ter Stegen when he moved to Barcelona. Spain come again inside the Swiss half. The ball with Jordi Alba. Asensio is out on the left flank and gets possession now, but he's very close to the halfway line still. They've had to go back into their own half again. Vázquez. It's very easy at the moment for the players at the back for Spain. They're under no pressure whatsoever. Plenty of time to pick the right pass. Odriozola does just that, finding Azpilicueta. The Chelsea man moves it on early to Vázquez. Those two subs still waiting to come on here for Spain. The ball hasn't gone out of play yet. It has now, though, so we'll make those changes. Interesting to see who comes off. Lopetegui just shouting out the instructions, and in fact the first man to be substituted, to a huge and well-deserved round of applause, is the goal scorer himself, Odriozola.
Well, certainly had a solid game, hasn't he? Been attacking for the majority of the game, and certainly scored an outstanding goal for Spain.
And if Carvajal doesn't make it, certainly for the opening World Cup game against Portugal, they know now that they've got a very good replacement in Odriozola. Meantime, Switzerland try to build an attack of their own, but it fizzles out yet again. 20 minutes remaining here in Villarreal, and it is still Spain 1, Switzerland 1. Spain taking the lead through Odriozola in the first half. Then a rare and uncharacteristic error from David De Gea, presenting Ricardo Rodriguez, nominally the left back for Switzerland, with an easy tap-in equaliser. He got there just ahead of his teammate Zuber after De Gea had failed to deal with a Lichtsteiner shot. failed to deal adequately anyway, pushed it straight out to the Swiss player. Here they come again, Switzerland. Almost found an opening on the very edge of the Spanish penalty area, but Spain closed the door quickly and counter-attack with Asensio on the halfway line. Had to check back inside and go back further still. They've got so many men now between their goalkeeper Sommer and the ball, Switzerland that is, that it's going to get very difficult for Spain to find a way through. The ball with Vázquez. Thiago, and he tried to thread it through into the Swiss penalty area but got it all wrong. Trouble is for the Swiss, when they win the ball back in their own half and look up, there's nothing on, so they have to go sideways or even backwards just to keep possession, and that could happen again here, although the route back to the goalkeeper was cut off, so it's a rather aimless long ball into the Spanish half, and offside flag goes up anyway. Free kick to Spain, which Azpilicueta will take. Can Spain regain their lead here in the time remaining? We're into the last 20 minutes of this international friendly, as Asensio plays a cute ball to the very edge of the penalty area. Well, he took it in his stride there, Rodrigo, but his first touch wasn't the best, and the ball came off his shin and out for a goal kick.
Only inches away though, wasn't he, from collecting that ball? Only inches away. The one thing the Swiss haven't got to worry about now when they lose the ball is David Silva and Iniesta, because whenever they were on the pitch, the know-how and the understanding between those players always looked like getting Spain a goal.
Here's Rodrigo again, the Valencia man in possession, left edge of the Swiss penalty area, looking for support, gets it from Jordi Alba, who rather mishit his cross, but they've kept possession. Spain now out on the far side, that's the Spanish right, 20 yards from the Swiss penalty area. Vázquez, one of the substitutes, taking on the defender, the goal scorer in fact. The cross knocked into the middle, and Switzerland are getting increasingly desperate with some of these clearances. Spain seem to be getting closer and closer to a second goal. Asensio has the ball. Looks as though he might have been brought down. He's lost possession anyway. Referee waving play on. Good time to remind you about the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast tomorrow. And Alan's special guest is the former England defender Michael Dawson. That's from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And don't forget as well, Drive with Adrian Durham and Darren Goff, 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 7 p.m. Here we are in the 74th minute, and it is Spain 1, Switzerland 1 in this pre-World Cup friendly international. Spain having taken a first half lead and dominated the first half, and they pretty much dominated the second as well, but in case you've only just joined us, it was a mistake by David De Gea, the Manchester United goalkeeper of all people, that presented Ricardo Rodriguez, the left back for Switzerland, with the equalising goal. Spain looking to get on the move again, just outside the Swiss penalty area. Plenty of players. Thiago is one of them, who has possession now, lifts it into the box, or out of the box, to Asensio on the far side. Sommer took a big decision to punch clear. It was the right decision, and back in it comes again. Headed away once more, this time by Shah. Shaqiri unable to keep possession, so this flow of Spanish attacks continues as the ball is played out to their right. Good ball into the middle, chance for Rodrigo, and now for Asensio, who gets it under control at the second attempt and takes over again on the left flank for Spain, now moving infield. Clever little ball intended for Vázquez, but was too strong for him. Out for a goal kick, Alvin.
Yeah, slightly, just overhit that one. That final ball has not got the required quality at the moment, but they're asking lots of questions of the Swiss. Go back to David De Gea, you're right, he doesn't make many mistakes, but if you are going to make a mistake, make it prior to the World Cup. I think he's getting that one out of the way. One thing is for sure, it won't affect him. He's a pretty strong character. That's found his way through adversity at the early days at Manchester United, with people asking questions about him. There aren't many people there these days who do that.
Well, he's been a virtual spectator for much of this game. I think you mentioned in the third half how much focus and concentration is important when your team is dominating as Spain have. He showed that 2 or 3 times earlier in the game, but well, culpable certainly for the goal, and I'm sure he'll admit that. Coquet in possession for Spain, just inside the centre circle. Lays it short, gets it back from Vázquez. Spain build again down the right as we move into the final quarter of an hour in Villarreal. Spain drawing with Switzerland 1-1. They shouldn't be. They should be in the lead. They should be comfortably in the lead. They've been comfortably the better team. But that one defensive lapse and a number of missed opportunities so far has cost them. But here they come again with Asensio and Jordi Alba combining on the Spanish left. Nice trick there from Asensio. Crowd like that. They love a little bit of showmanship, Spanish crowds. Piqué has come a long way forward for Spain. But it's so congested in and around that Swiss penalty area. They can't find a way through at the moment. Coquet has to spread the play. That's the sensible thing to do. Knocks it out wide to the Spanish right. Switzerland quickly, though, defending. And the cross, I think, has gone behind. It has. That'll be a goal kick. Frustrating this for Spain. Very frustrating. And they're going to make another change. He was going to come on earlier, but didn't. Monreal, the Arsenal man. And I think is it Piqué he's going to replace? No, it's Jordi Alba, surely. Well, the man who is coming off first is the Swiss goal scorer, Ricardo Rodriguez. Spanish name, Spanish father. And the man who ended Northern Ireland's hopes with the penalty that beat them in the World Cup playoff.
One thing is for sure, we see games like this regularly, where one team dominates from start to finish and doesn't kill the opposition off. You're always in the game at 1-0, and then, a mistake, as we've seen, gets them back in the game. And this is a lesson for Spain as well. They will dominate large portions of most games they play in. And then all of a sudden, whether it's deserved or not, they're pegged back to 1-1. How do you react? Your in-game planning and organisation, how do you react? And the manager will be looking at his team, although they've made lots and lots of changes, and say, okay, well, this could happen. How are we going to find a solution to it during the tournament?
The long ball down the middle has been cut out by Shah, who's had an excellent game at the heart. This is Mubanji, who's just come on as a substitute for Rodriguez. Plays it all the way back to the edge of his own penalty area to Akanji. And now back further still to Sommer. The clearance charged down by Vázquez, by Saul rather, and that will be a throw in to the home side as the local TV director here replays that little bit of skill earlier from Asensio. Strange thing, I watched quite a lot of club football over in Spain. They love a trick. They love a little bit of magic like that. In England, what gets people off their seats and on their feet, apart from goals, of course, is usually a good tackle. Strange difference in culture. Yeah.
Maybe it tells a story, that.
Yeah, indeed it does. Spain have possession halfway inside their own half. We are approaching 80 minutes on the clock, and they are now drawing with Switzerland, having led for so long and deservedly led. But here they come with Asensio, and certainly shown a bit of magic footwork since he came off the bench. Thiago has possession and plays it out to the right. So many Spanish players in an advanced role now. If the ball breaks down at all, they could be in trouble, although Switzerland have got just about everybody back, so it might not make any difference. Having to go from left to right here. Coquet playing it out to that far side, and now he gets it back, plays it into the edge of the penalty area, neat turn, and now it comes to Asensio. Should have done better there, really. His cross hit the first defender and has gone out for a throw-in to Spain, which they've already taken. Jordi Alba, the left back, camped inside the opposition half, finds Coquet. Well, they're defending for their lives at the moment, Switzerland. This will be a morale-boosting draw for them if they can hang on here. They've got Japan on June the 8th in their final pre-World Cup friendly. They've qualified for 7 of the last 8 major tournaments, by the way, the Swiss. So as we've been saying throughout this game, this is a decent international side, although on the night they have been second best. Vavquez for Spain, midway inside the Swiss half. Plays it out to the right. The cross easily dealt with there. And Spain give possession away for once. And that could be a threat as Embolo takes them forward. Switzerland, that is. Midway inside the Spanish half. And Embolo gets onto the return pass as well. A decent cross. They could have been in a little bit of trouble there. But Spain have possession back again. Just inside their own penalty area initially. Now they've played the ball forward towards the centre circle. Slowed it down now noticeably. The pace of the Spanish attacking players dropped after a hectic start to the half. Thiago plays a long ball forward. Rodrigo did well to even keep that one in play. And now it goes in short to Vavquez, who shows good footwork there, and a lovely little ball, and the goalkeeper pulls off a wonderful save. It looked odds on, a second goal for Spain then, but Sommer has denied Vavquez right at the death.
Brilliant skill on the edge of the box there to get them in, and as you said, an excellent save.
Spain still have possession. Not now, they don't. Poor ball, easily collected by Embolo, but he's given possession away. Thiago tries to make ground, picks out Monreal. The Arsenal man's cross is dealt with, and then finally it's Embolo knocks it clear once more for Switzerland. The header down to Shaqiri on the halfway line has gone out of play. It's a throw into Spain, which they've taken already. Monreal has it, finding Koke inside the centre circle. Well, it's not for want of trying that they haven't managed to get this second goal, but they haven't, for all their possession, produced that many shots to bother the excellent Jan Sommer. And the Borussia Mönchengladbach keeper has been called upon 2 or 3 times to save his country and has not been found wanting.
They've worked tremendously hard in front of them as well, haven't they, Alan? You know, and they've been pretty solid in a lot of respects. When you think about, you know, how much possession or lack of it that they've had, but you know, how much is that down? That's why it's hard to calculate. How much is it down to the changes that Spain have made?
Well, they're looking good here. Well, they should have been, because Asensio had got himself free, left edge of the Swiss penalty area, but they couldn't find him, and Switzerland break themselves now. Not with too many numbers, it has to be said. Drimic keeping the ball in play, but they've gone back to the halfway line just to keep possession. They're not in any great hurry to get it forward here. It's almost like a team playing for an away point at the moment. They're just keeping possession inside their own half. They're quite happy with this draw. Friendly or no friendly, it will certainly give them a boost, I'm sure, before they go off to Russia. They've had the misfortune to be drawn with Brazil, of course, and their opening game is against Brazil, June the 17th in Rostov-on-Don. They've also got Costa Rica and Serbia in their group. They could frustrate a few. Spain build again. Halfway inside the Swiss half this time, as we approach the final 5 minutes here in Villarreal. The ball with Saul, who hits it long, right to left. Monreal gets his cross in, a better cross this time, but the diving header wide of target from Thiago.
It hasn't really affected Spain, the fact that they conceded a goal. Look, it's a friendly game, not really too much at stake here, so they're looking for little bits of improvements, educational stuff they can use to improve as a team. But you know, they should have been out of sight. They weren't. They've been pegged back 1-1. In the last 15 minutes, they've asked quite a few questions of Switzerland haven't come up with that final ball, that little bit of quality that you need to open up defences.
Shaqiri trying to open up the Spanish defence at the other end. Might have done better in that attack there, Thiago. It was a relatively free header, but it was well wide of the target. 86 minutes on the clock now. Spain 1, Switzerland 1 here on TalkSport. Here is Thiago, midway inside the Swiss half. He's got so many options when he gets possession. Finally picks out Batket. Nice little trick by him to pull the ball back to Thiago. Now Monreal. And Asensio, who's seen a lot of the ball and looked lively since he came off the subs bench. He's just outside the Swiss penalty area, gets his cross in, but it's too deep and out of play. Goal kick. Got all the tricks, but the end product not quite up to the build-up.
He's on left foot, isn't he? And when you get somebody over the ball, he shows a few shapes left and right. But that's only worth so much. You need to be able to deliver the ball in the right areas, and that's where he's been found wanting. I felt that when they've got wide and they've got in behind the Swiss, they haven't picked out the correct ball at the right time, or maybe the runs haven't been there.
Well, they're running out of time now, that's for sure. Monreal on the halfway line for Spain. Here goes Asensio again on another of those jinky little runs. Oh, that time he thought he was getting the throw in. He's wrong. The referee has awarded it to Switzerland. Well, he's going to keep his unbeaten record going by the looks of things, Julen Lopetegui, but not in the way he would have wished. He was looking for another win here. His record before the end of this game as coach of Spain: 1-13, drawn 5, lost none. Their last defeat was against Italy in the European Championships 2 years ago. They're still looking for a winner here. Rodrigo has peeled away. So too is Saul, who lays it off to Coquel just outside the Swiss penalty area as we tick towards the 89th minute. And an easy cross for Jan Sommer to deal with. Very competent goalkeeper he's looked. And he's in no hurry to get rid of the ball here. Finally he does kick it right-footed up towards the halfway line, where Monreal did brilliantly to keep it in play and finds Saul. It comes back to Saul. Heavy touch by him enables Switzerland to clear the immediate danger. Kanji getting it clear. Throw into Spain. They've already taken it, and they're midway inside the Swiss half on the far side of the field. That's the Spanish right. The ball played in towards the near post. Not the best cross. And now an injury that has been inflicted by an elbow by the looks of things. And it's, I think, going to earn Zakaria a yellow card. The referee has reached for his pocket. Yes, the yellow card is out.
Well, he was 30 yards away from Alan, but he ran over there. The way he ran over the referee, I thought maybe he was thinking about a red, because the player went down. Just looking at it here, I don't think there's too much in that. It's a player jumping up, his arms up there, but did he actually intentionally elbow the Spanish player in the face? I don't think so. I think they get that wrong a lot, referees. They read more in it. I think a player deserves the benefit of the doubt, and certainly Zuba should have been given that there. Yeah, it was Zuba who committed the foul. Zakaria who was arguing with the referee. Anyway, free kick to Spain. It's just outside the Swiss penalty area on the right-hand side as the Spanish attack. We're ticking towards 90 minutes on the clock. Can they snatch a late dramatic winner here, Spain? And again, they most certainly deserve to win. It's played in and not very accurately, I have to say, but they've won it back inside the penalty area. Still danger here for the Swiss. They've got so many bodies in the way. Can they survive this attempt? Yes, they can. And it was the substitute Nacho who came close but curled it just beyond the far post. Well, I think it may have even caught the uprightness. It was so close. He bent it inside of his right boot. Sommer's just watching it. I think it does just clip the post. He's not getting anywhere near that, the Swiss goalkeeper, but he's fortunate. It's just wide.
Well, that could have been the late dramatic winner I was talking about. It could still be yet. No. Well, that was a poor effort by Rodrigo. It was blocked by the defender, to be fair to him, but he probably had more time than he realised there, as suddenly the Swiss central defence parted and invited him to have a shot at goal. Blocked at the expense of a corner. Rodrigo being closely marked from this corner. In it goes towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and a header, a free header at that. It was another chance, and another chance for Nacho. Headed wide.
Well, he could have had, 3 or 4 goals in the last 10 minutes, Spain, and I think, that tells you about what they are. They've been pegged back 1-1, but they've took the game to the Swiss, and really, they with a bit more luck, they could have won this game. Certainly, the more positives than negatives to take out of it for Spain.
Well, we're into the 3 minutes of stoppage time added by the Romanian referee Istvan Kovac. Spain almost inevitably have possession, but this time it's in their own half. Now they cross the halfway line with Arsenal's Monreal, who was fouled. That'll be a free kick despite the protests of Mbolo, the Swiss player who made the challenge. Looking very frustrated with the referee, and well he might, because this is another opportunity for Spain to load the Swiss penalty area with players and try and get that winning goal. Thiago will take the free kick this time. 10 yards from the Swiss penalty area, right to the far post. Oh, Rodrigo had a chance there almost on the line. It was great defending, and Switzerland breathe again.
Well, they've rode their luck. It's been all hands on deck, hasn't it, for the Swiss for the majority of this game.
Well, an offside flag stops them in their tracks from their counter-attack. But, I mean, how many opportunities have come and gone for Spain tonight?
Yeah, I think they'll look back and think, okay, how many mistakes would you expect, the world-class keeper that they've got, De Gea, to make during the next, 2 or 3 years? Not many. He's made one tonight. That's the only reason that they haven't won the game.
Yes, spot on. As the final whistle blows in Villarreal, and Spain in their penultimate friendly before the start of the 2018 World Cup in Russia have been held to a draw by Switzerland. The scoreline will say 1-1, all even. In truth, it was far from that. Spain totally dominated. They probably ended up with something like 70% of the possession. They led from a first half goal by the excellent new young right back Odriozola, and they led for long periods of the game as well. But then there was a catastrophic error really by David De Gea of all people, when he pushed the ball out from a shot by the right back and Swiss captain Lichtsteiner, and he pushed it straight into the path of Ricardo Rodriguez, who just had to side foot it over the line from, about a foot out. Spain, for all the attempts on goal, particularly in the second half, just could not find a way past Jan Sommer. They'll be disappointed in the scoreline, but I'm sure their coach Lopetegui, who extends his unbeaten run now to 19 games, will be more than happy with the overall Spanish performance. There were some stars out there tonight. Iniesta was one of them, but I think the headlines in the Spanish press will go to Odriozola for his first ever international goal. Final score, Spain 1, Switzerland 1.